Let's wait for it, and then we should be good to go. Okay, we as human beings, we extremely love compliments. We all love compliments. But there is 1% population which is extremely different, which is crazy, wild, and it's founders. Founders are actually looking for critical feedback, criticism, and founders of EthAum's community are even crazier because they are looking for this criticism on a live stream in the public domain. And why so? Why these founders are so crazy? The reason is founders know that they can only improve and grow by learning from the critical feedback, criticism, brutal feedback from the subject matter experts. And that's why we love hosting these roast sessions where subject matter experts ask difficult, direct questions to the founders. Founders respond to those questions and also take the feedback very positively so that they can learn from it, improve and grow. And without that process, they cannot really be the next unicorn, right? So this is where we are. Today we have Nadav and Nir on the hot spot, on the hot seat. They are the founders of Fennec Medical, which is an Israeli startup providing AI surgical assistant for orthopedic surgeries. We have a fantastic panel today, which comes from different domain of healthcare. So I'll request our seasoned panelists to introduce themselves, and then we can get into the session. So I'll request Aditya to go first. Aditya, please, a quick introduction.
Good morning and good evening, everyone. Thanks, Pankaj. My name is Aditya Ingalhalikar. I'm the founder and CEO of BioAlign. We are a spinal implants company based in Dallas, Texas, and we are working on technologies for spinal scoliosis.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot, Aditya. And because you have been dealing with a lot of orthopedic surgeons in the US, I'm sure that you are going to come up with a lot of interesting questions and insights for Nadav. Thanks a lot.
Looking forward to be on the other side.
You have gone through the journey, so you completely understand how it is, right? So thanks a lot for sharing your for joining us, with us today. May I request Tanya to go next, please?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Tanya Montméan. I'm deal flow partner at EthAum Ventures, and I also have my own advisor and investment firm called EthAum Venture, where I help startups to fundraise, and I invest in some of them.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, really appreciate it. Having investors' perspective is extremely important because I'm sure that you are reviewing hundreds of deals every quarters. And it's important, to get your perspective on how the value proposition should be presented or what kind of questions or concerns a potential institutional investor may have for Fennec Medical. So thanks a lot for joining us today. Last but not least, Ashish, may I request you to go next, please?
Yeah, hey, good morning, everyone, and good to meet you, all of you. I'm based out of Jackson, Mississippi. I'm a practicing adult reconstructive surgeon, and I'm also a professor at the university.
Fantastic.
So looking forward to this grilling session.
Thanks a lot, Ashish. It's grilling, but fun and with a lot of constructive criticism. So really appreciate your time today. Nir, a brief introduction from your side, please.
Yeah, hello everyone. Thank you for participating and supporting. I'm one of the founders. My background is I have a PhD in solid state physics from the Technion in Israel. Over 40 years of C-level position in Israel. Grew companies from startup to exit, and now involved in this exciting Fennec Medical opportunity.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot, Nir. Obviously, the drive, the passion that you have till date is really inspiring. So thanks a lot. I'm sure that you will enjoy the roast session today. And Nadav, please.
Okay, so thank you very much. My name is Nadav Cohen. Like Pankaj said, I'm the CEO and co-founder of Fennec Medical. So we are developing an AI co-pilot for orthopedic surgeons. And specifically, we're talking about, let me switch the slides here.
You can share your screen, Nadav, and walk us through the presentation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the slide is not PowerPoint. Sorry. Here, let's try this again. Okay. It just crashed PowerPoint. Let's try this again.
It's always happened when you need it, right?
I think PowerPoint is afraid of the roast. There we go. Okay. Let me share again my screen. Yeah. Are we good?
It is coming up. Yeah, please go ahead. We see your screen.
Excellent. So we're developing an AI co-pilot for orthopedic surgeries. And specifically, we're starting with total hip transplant. It's a huge market, over 200 million surgeries annually. But our technology is planned to be cut and pasted in the future to many orthopedic surgical procedures. Any procedures where an implant is driven into the bone, our technology is valuable. So we usually imagine surgeries as a delicate art, but actually in hip replacement, the reality is much more intense. We all know the sophisticated technologies that are risen in the past 10 years, robotics, imaging, and so on. But with all respect to the $500,000 of equipment we have in our surgical room, at some point in all of these surgeries, the doctors push away all sophisticated robotics and pick up a hammer, okay? They hammer away the implant into the bone. That's the methodology till today with all this technology. The biggest technology jump with regard to the insertion of the implant to the bone is an electromechanical hammer, okay? An auto impactor. So it's a very high energy striking process, and as a result, bones sometimes fracture, okay? And this need to push the implant so hard into the bone, the doctors navigate this fine line between success and fracture using their senses only, their feel only. They listen to the sound of the mallet and they feel in their hand the restrictions as the implant is inserted. Now, as this entails some difficulties, and in hip replacement procedures for inexperienced surgeons, mechanical failures such as this can reach up to 20%. And these aren't minor issues, okay? Especially to the patient, but not only. The toll, economic toll is immense. In hip only, it's $2 billion, and in the whole field that we're looking into, it's above $10 billion annually. And this is where we come in, okay? Fennec Medical solve this by replacing or adding to the subjective field objective deterministic data, okay? With detection of near fracture condition and decision support, we are able to turn this high-risk art into a predictable science. Now, we've done this with a secret sauce algorithm that we developed, but not only that, we have an amazing team, and we reached that algorithm success because of our background in vibrations, sensing, real-time algorithms, and also, and not least, fracture mechanics. And this is our solution. It's the AI, it's our AI assistant, and it's powered by the EchoStem device. The EchoStem device is a single-use adjacent device, agnostic to all of the surgeon's tools, that is attached either to the two main tools, whether it's a handle and mallet or an auto impactor. With the handle, it is attached to the handle itself, With the auto impactors, it's attached to the adapter. The implant and the brooch are metallic alloys, and during the insertion process, this metallic alloy serves as a sort of waveguide, transmitting vibrations, acoustic signatures, and more physical sensing modalities through the alloy into our device, into the echo stem. Okay, the echo stem has 3 to 4 sensing modalities within it, and in real time it analyzes the data stream to give the critical intraoperative alert and the decision support. So the doctor does the procedure, and we don't touch the workflow. He or she can continue in whichever way they are used to work. And in the case that they reach a pre-fracture condition, there is a chance that they're reaching a critical zone, they will get an alert. But in case they want even more information during the process, they have a user interface that has a lot more information that is fed through and displayed. The data is analyzed through our algorithm, and our AI layer takes everything into account, our growing database, including metadata such as bone density, age, sex, and so on, and feeds it into the output of the GUI itself. We have a strong IP moat of 3 patents. 2 of them are pending under US patent law at the moment, and another is still in PCT, and we have more in the oven, both for spine and trauma. Our go-to-market strategy is, with regard to the market domain, as I said, we're starting with hip, and with regard to global penetration, we're starting with the US market. Our strategy is through post-market and pre-market studies, win over leading surgeons, and with the aid of our amazing advisory board with our amazing doctors, to win over the leading surgeons, and also work with local medical device distributors to win over the hospitals and clinics. Our timeline is 3.5 years to reach market. We plan to do this with $8 million of funding, with a sub-step of 18 to 24 months to reach FDA approval. So this is our timeline and where we are at the moment. We have an amazing core team. I will send you the deck afterwards. You can read it. We have an amazing advisories with doctors, surgeons from the US, Israel, Canada, and they are helping us immensely. Let me just give you another look into the future and part of our vision. I think it's fair to say that in 10 years, AI and robotics will drive orthopedic surgeries. But for that future to exist, robot needs senses, just like human surgeons do, okay? Now, Fennec is the end effector and the missing link to allow those robotics to work. That is the reason why we don't have such robotics today. Now, let me be clear. Our solution is set right now to assist surgeons of today, but it is set to enable the robots of tomorrow. Now, before I finish my presentation, just new announcements on that are fresh from the oven. No pun intended at all. But Fennec has just been accepted to the Mayo Clinic Waypoint program, where we have started it this week. We've also last week signed an LOI with one of the top surgical orthopedic strategic companies for a preclinical pilot. And we have a new member to our advisory team, Dr. David Berger. He was previously the CEO of Sunny Downstate Hospital in New York State. And thank you very much, and let the roast begin.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot, Nadav, for this quick pitch. And he is ready to get roasted. So who wants to go first?
Can go, probably.
Can I go first?
Or you go.
Okay, ladies first. Tanya, you go first. I'll follow you.
Go ahead, Tanya.
Okay. Yeah, I will ask more like investor standpoint questions. Who are your main competitors right now?
Okay, so like I said, all large, well, our main, there are no startups like us in this field. The main competitors are developing robotic solutions that are more and more advanced to support knee and hip surgeries. Having said that, none of them, apart from J&J, have any patents similar or in the field that we are in. And even the J&J IP, we've undergone strict freedom to operate analysis, and we have passed them in flying colors. So we believe we have a very strong IP moat. In that sense, we also have, this is supported also from a lot of interest from those big companies, J&J, Stryker, Zimmer, Globus, and Innovis, and Medacta. We're speaking with all of them, and they're all interested in what we are doing.
Fantastic.
Oh, thank you so much.
Ashish, please.
Yeah, so you said J&J is developing a prototype like your product, or they are,
no,
you are ahead of them?
Okay, so it's not like ours. Like I said, we've passed freedom to operate, which means that it's not the same. They have a patent with regards to assessing stability of implant during insertion, and they don't deal at all with fracture prediction at all. And for all I know, at least as far as they advertise, there is no, as of yet, there is no actual product in the market that pushes that forward.
So I saw that you depicted that you can use it in a manual fashion and along with the auto impactor. And you also said that you are talking to many companies, Medacta and few others which you mentioned.
Yep.
What is your long-term plan? Is the plan to sell it to one of the companies, or would you rather allow a bigger market share by giving it to everyone so that it's implant neutral?
So we are currently working in a two-path approach. The reality being of today is that the big players are actually fighting very hard for new technologies. For example, the Stryker revolution with their robotics for knee and hip 10 years ago, they bought that technology for a few hundreds of millions of dollars and achieved a market share worth tens of billions of dollars. So for them, the strategy is clear and they are willing to pay a lot of money. Also, they have all the infrastructure needed to push forward the device with their distribution chain. And what they will probably do is actually integrate the technology into their devices. So reality being is that I'm sure we'll hear from them along the way, and we are aware of the climate today, and we are keeping things open with that respect. Having said that, our plan is first of all to reach market and to show sales, and only then, we will we believe will be very attractive to those companies, and will have a lot of leverage being an agnostic device that is already in market.
And where do you
So-
guys produce your devices? Oh, sorry,
Go ahead.
Ashish, you didn't finish your
No, carry
question.
on.
Carry on,
No,
Tanya.
I just
And what I was trying to ask,
was curious where you produce your devices. You produce them
Yes.
in
So-
Israel, or you outsource it somewhere?
We are not yet in a mass production stage. We are preclinical. We have still 18 months to 24 months to reach FDA approval. And part of that is because we still have about 12 months in front of us for development, both to move from our benchtop prototype to the actual wireless device and finalizing the algorithm.
Yeah. Nadav, okay that I comment here?
Please go
Yes,
ahead,
of
Ned.
course.
Yeah. So we will outsource as much as possible. There are candidates in Israel, in Europe, in the Far East to outsource the manufacturing, but the core algorithm will be kept in-house.
Thank you. Ashish, I think you had a question.
yeah, so my question was, I know you gave me the answer, you're keeping your options open, but your concept is good. You want to prevent a fracture, which is, really thoughtful. But if you tie up with one of the companies, you will lose out the 75% of the remaining share. Give or take, no
Right.
company has more than 20 to 25% of the market. So if let's say
True.
Stryker gives you a good price, you say, we have invested this much, we are making 1,600%, I will take the money, but then it will be either they'll bury your technology or they might just adapt it to Stryker, but the non-Strykers, you're going to miss out on those. So do you have
Of
a
course.
plan, or you are just...
Yes, we have a plan, and the plan is to work toward an agnostic device. But if in the next round a strategic partner will give us a very an interesting investment offer, and one of the requirements will be first to bid, then we will give them that option.
Yeah.
All right.
All
I
right.
have a
By the
question.
way, it is interesting to remember what happened with Stryker and knee robot.
Mhm.
Thanks to this knee robot, they increased their market share. What Nadav explained, we think that with the ecosystem, whoever uses it will increase his market share
No,
because
this is the
he
problem.
is offering the added value.
Okay. Hello. I have a
Please go
question.
ahead, Aditya. Yeah.
Yeah. So Nadav, great presentation, and good luck for your path forward. But now let me bring up the tough part. Your spine numbers are wrong. So one thing, if you go back to the market, the spine market share is not more than hip and knee. So that's what is one input and feedback that I would like to give. Number of spine surgeries as well as the spine market projections that you have put at. Spine is always less than hip and knee. So you might want to relook those numbers wherever the source that you have taken them from. The second point is you said that there's an application for spine and you're talking to Globus, for example, and of course the other companies also. So what is the spine related application? Because hip and knees, there's a lot of impaction. In spine, there is no impaction. So how is this technology going to help a spine surgeon?
And Nadav, be careful. You're
Without-
talking to
yeah.
ex-Globus.
Yeah. Okay. Well, first of all, thank you very much for the information. My information was actually from doctors. They told me that spine is the equivalent, and we also checked it, but I'm taking your word for it, that it's the equivalent of both market together, but I will look into it, and thank you very much. With regard to what we plan to do, without going into too much detail, because we haven't done the patent yet, but our technology is can distinguish between tissue types and can alert before fractures. Now, whether you're pushing in a pedicle screw or you're looking to find the correct path through the pedicle, you are going through cortical and soft bone, and you go through tissues if we're in worst case scenarios. I know there are solutions in the market. I think we're bringing something new here with our technology, and for that reason as well, because the market already has solutions in that, we want to prove first our viability through HIP, and then I'm sure we'll have also to give in your field as well.
Okay, so the device would be sensitive to just pushing through also, and not just impaction, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay. There was one device in a similar called. Are you aware of a company called PediGuard?
Yes, of
Yes.
course.
So PediGuard was one of the devices that was used primarily. Their whole goal was to detect breach of the pedicle in spine, right?
Yeah.
And they failed miserably. Why do you think you will succeed?
Well, PediGuard uses, how should I say, not a direct sensing
Nadav, I'm on
modality.
your side. I'm a founder and CEO, but
No, I'm
just posing out the tough questions here.
Those are the questions that you want.
You are
this
demonstrating
is totally
the
fine, and
roast,
it's very,
that's fine.
yeah. Thank you very much, but I'm fine. So PediGuard uses electrical resistance to assess the different type of tissues. Okay, it's indirect modality. We are actually listening. One of the technologies that we use, we have a few sensing modalities, like I said. One of them is we actually hear the micro fractures that happen in a micro scale when penetrating tissue, specifically cortical and soft bone. We can listen to that. So that's a direct sensing modality, and not an indirect through electrical conduction or electromagnetic induction methods.
So if I am a spine surgeon and I'm doing manual surgery and not robotic surgery, what would be my feedback?
Well, if this is just what I assume we're going to do, okay? Because we don't have that product yet. But you will get...
Not just spine, even for hip and knees.
Okay, so you have, first of all, you have a UI console, a user interface console, that you get fluent information on the progression of the surgery. For example, what is the force you're exerting, whether you're pushing it or hammering it in? Let's say for a pedicle, if you all of a sudden reach soft bone, you will immediately notice it just by the force. You also get indications, alert.
So
if there's,
hold that thought. But in any case,
Sure.
While putting into a spine, I'm going from hard bone, which is pedicle, into the soft bone. So will I get a false positive?
No, you will get. This is an agentic device supporting your decision making. Okay, the only alert that we feel that we, bring on the red lights and just maybe you should think about it and stop 1 second is when our system detects micro fractures that are out of the ordinary, and we have our algorithm that knows how to distinguish that. And that is for a hip, in that case, is before fracture happens. A lot of times it's even a small fracture that no one even notices, but a week after, the patient is in pain or doesn't have the motion capabilities that it's expected to have. So that's the alert. It's an agentic device, and you can actually continue doing what you do with no regard to our solution. I say it as a good thing, right? I'm not changing your way of work.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yes, Ashish,
Thank you.
please go ahead.
So, yes, you're trying to prevent a fracture, but what is the data which you have on which you are so confident?
Okay, so that's
you have cadaveric data. Have you done finite analysis or what?
So our algorithm has been developed based on physical engineering and clinical models that we built. It has been valid. It's a classic statistical and numerical modeling solutions that analyzes the sensorial data. What's special about the algorithm is that it is trend-based. We were able to model certain qualities of bone during insertion of implants that shows up across different types of bone. There's huge variations between one bone to the next, whether it's a young sportive patient where you need 6,000 Newton to force in the implant, or an old woman osteoporotic bone where you need less than 1,000 Newton of force. Our algorithm, based on the trend-based model, has been validated, first of all, on synthetic bone, then proven on sheep animal bones, and we've validated on human donor cadaver bones as well. This is where we are at the moment. We are now building an additive layer based on deep learning and large data sets that we are starting to acquire now, that will also incorporate metadata to even better our variability capabilities.
So,
one question.
talking about this.
Go ahead, Ashish.
So, the data which you gathered from working on the sheep bones and the cadaveric bones, what was your sample size?
Okay, so it was just shy of 80 bones.
That is sheep, or that is combined?
No, that is sheep and synthetic bones. Cadavers we validated on 2 bones.
You said 2?
Yeah. We are. Let me just elaborate. Let me just elaborate, please. Let me remind you of the stage we are. We are in the beginning of a seed stage. Okay. We have a plan set. Okay, with LOIs set with hospitals for the preclinical data set accumulation, AI training, and preclinical studies set with LOIs in place with Carmel Hospital in Israel and Mount Sinai in Toronto. And this will include about 1,000 bones, sheep, synthetic, and a few tens of human cadaver bones, finalized with actual preclinical, real live surgeries done in Israel by our co-founder, which he is the head of Carmel Hospital head of orthopedic department in Carmel Hospital in Israel.
So, Nadav, I have one question. Is this a force-based technology or a sound-based technology?
We have different sensing modalities. The 3 basic ones are pressure/force, vibrations, and acoustic signatures.
Okay. So, just as a
single sensor would fail to detect uniquely the proximity of the fracture. And we developed a combination of sensor, modality of sensors that together give us the unique determination.
Okay. So, Nir, I have a question for you. Is your aim as a device, as a technology, to be very hypersensitive or be sensitive on a gross level?
Let Nadav answer.
Okay.
That's a very interesting question. This is the first time I am asked that. So it's a very interesting question. Yeah, please.
I'll tell you the reason why I'm asking. And see, and Ashish he is a reconstructive surgeon. So anytime you are hammering, anytime you're going into bone, you are essentially creating a fracture. You're going through the device. So word of caution would be that when you do develop this technology, okay, if it's too sensitive, actually normal state of operations can throw you a false positive. So just something to be aware of, because any device implantation is you are creating an injury. So which is you are technically fracturing it, right? So there should be a difference between normative implantation versus an actual fracture.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
I understand.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand. So definitely this is part of our modeling and part of our secret sauce. Let me just, first of all, Nir always reminds me that I forget to explain, when I say microfractures, it's an engineering term. It's whenever you chip away material, whenever you expand the material, there are micro events that are called microfractures, but are very, very different from a macro scale fracture, clinical fracture. That is in the order of a few millimeters to a few centimeters. Okay, this is sub-millimeter events that create a very high density acoustic event, and that happens a lot. But we have a very special statistical algorithm that is able to assess the progressional, correct, and healthy, maybe healthy is not the best word, healthy microfracture indications, as opposed to an onset, the beginning of an onset of a macro scale event.
Yeah, and maybe we mentioned before trend. This is part of it. So it is true that even in the first impact, there will be microfracture generated, but other sensors will indicate that it is far from fracture. As you proceed, the other sensor get the indicative information, and of course, we see the acceleration of the generation of microfracture.
Okay, fair enough. Now my last question is that I'm a surgeon and I have impacted and I get to know that, oh, there is a fracture. What do I do?
So this
undo.
Because I've already passed that stage, right, Ashish? Is that a fair question?
That's true, but I guess the device failed at that stage, or you were not listening.
If the device did not give an alert, then it failed. What our goal is set to provide a success rate of above 90%. We have already a statistical based
post-market. You said 90 or 98?
90. It's a 90, not 98. 90%.
90.
90.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me remind you, this is an agentic device, and we are considering that this is a highly variable field, and we think that it's a very if we lower the expenses and fractures by 90%, by 90%, this is a very big deal, and so we have a post-market study already planned out in general lines and in quantities and so on to prove and validate our statistical success.
Okay, thank you.
So, you talked about 90% reduction in the fracture rate. The intraoperative fracture rate when you are doing a hip replacement, depending on the quality of the bone, can go as high as 30%. So you are saying that out of those 30%, you want to drop it down by 90%?
Yeah, to 3%.
I wish it was 30%. It's 30%. It's only with inexperienced doctors or doctors that don't do a lot of surgeries per year, and usually the average statistics is more like 5%. So the statistical, for me to prove it statistically, I need a group of at least 600 clinical surgeries to prove, and this is what we're planning to do.
So 5%, I have never heard of that. figure at all.
Sorry?
It just depends. Are you working on the femur or are you working on the cup side? The cup side fracture rate is low. The femur side fracture rate is much higher. And obviously, the quality of the bone has a bearing on it. And that's the reason I was asking you, can you decrease the fracture rate by 90%? So if there is a 30% incidence, you're bringing down by 90%. That's a substantial,
This is what I mean when I say 90%. And by the way, I'm not happy for the patients, but if you give me that number, that statistical number, for me, it's great to carry to explain the actual burden here. But yes, that's what we mean. If there is 30%, we're going to reduce it.
Don't take my word for it. You can do a Google search and you can find this number. In fact, sometimes it might be higher. So
are you talking about intraoperative fractures or all types of fractures?
Yes, intraoperative.
Okay, if you can send me what you found, it would be great, because my statistics was different, but it would go a long way for me. One study that
this will help
such
us
high
a lot.
percent.
Not so good for the patients, but very good for Fennec Medical.
Yeah.
You are on live stream. Anyway,
it will be good for the hospitals as well if the incidence of intraoperative fractures goes down, because it just changes everything. So
let me add to you, Ashish. On top of that, I'm sure you are aware of how the market in the US is moving from large hospitals to outpatient clinics. There's actually now a brand new rule that says that you need a special approval to have a surgery done in hospital and not in an outpatient clinic. An outpatient clinic, two things a lot of times happen there. Doctors do a lot of things, not just hip replacement. They do knee, shoulder, and more, and hand and more, meaning that they do less hip replacement surgeries per year. And so they have less repetition and less experience in that sense. Secondly, they have very little capabilities to deal with complications. And there was actually a very large event in the US for surgical orthopedics, and they were talking exactly about that, how outpatient clinics, they need to invest in technologies that reduce complications, specifically intraoperative fractures.
So
and also to add the talk, please.
Go ahead, Ashish.
There is a push towards outpatient surgery, but that's more insurance driven and finance driven. Whether or not that's good for the patient, that's a separate story.
I think that's not good for the patient at all. But the current situation in the US is that they're squeezing the margins for hospitals.
Yes, it is.
With the Medicare. Yeah, and it's all about economics. The team initiative wants to increase efficiency with regard to money, but also for hospital success rate.
Yeah, and the penalty with this external facilities is the cost of mistake is much higher, because they cannot do the revision.
Yeah, they can't even handle sometimes the complication. They need to call an ambulance and send them to a hospital. This kills all their margin for the whole day, if not a few days of surgeries.
Nadav, I have a question on the commercial side. You said it's a consumable, right? So is it only one surgery or usage or?
Disposable.
Yes.
So if you use it once and then throw it away, is it?
Yes, this is a strategic decision, because the electronics, to put it in an autoclave solution for, it's very challenging, and for our solution, we believe we can reach a BOM cost that is attractive enough for single use, and of course the advantages of a single use is clear.
Okay. And is it ETO sterilization or gamma sterilization?
No, I believe it will have to be gamma ray radiation sterilization.
And gamma won't fry the circuit?
I think if there are methods to do it.
Okay.
I
So
think
what
Ashish
is the
is
price
asking about the
point? Let's
pricing.
say you get approved.
Excuse
Let's say
me?
you get approved, you're all the LOIs with all the hospital works and you are ready with the product. What is your price point?
Our price point at the moment is between $250 and $300.
$300. And I guess your pitch is going to be to the surgery centers that we can save you $60,000 because you're not facing a revision by spending $300.
Our actual calculation and based our models, we can reach an ROI of about 200% per hospital with that cost.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we started to speak about numbers, I know you guys are early stage, but do you have any projections? And you are asking for 8 million. Can you talk a bit more about how much you already raised? And so what's their like just high level top line growth for next year's and costs?
So we raised up till now about $225,000 in investments and additionally $650,000 in grants up to now. This allowed us to reach our benchtop prototype and all the validation that I talked about. And like I said in the presentation, to reach FDA approval, we need another 2 million as a sub-step. The whole $8 million to reach the market, a lot of it entails into it the post-market study that we're going to do in 3 different hospitals.
So what's the burn rate required to get to FDA for you? Sorry, you may have told it, I may have missed it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I didn't hear the question.
You were breaking.
Can you repeat it?
Yeah, what's the burn rate until you reach FDA approval?
The burn rate, about 2 million for 2 years. So first year, this year it's going to be about $700,000 to $800,000, and the next year is going to be 1.2, 1.3.
Okay.
Fantastic. Probably we can take one more question, and then I have a surprise element over here for Nadav.
What's the meaning of Fennec? What does Fennec stand for? And what's that symbol in the back, the logo?
So Fennec is a very small fox, desert fox.
Okay.
Considered very intelligent and lucky.
Fantastic.
Cool. Okay.
So Nadav and Nir, I know that you answered a lot of questions. You did not sweat, you did not cry. So I think so far you're doing good. Congratulations. Now you are sitting in front of experts, and if you have to get one insight from them on any specific topic, whether it is product roadmap or go-to-market or regulatory or something else, feel free to ask that one question or get one insight from the experts. It's your time to ask a question.
I would, if there was something I would like to de-risk in my path in our path is actually to know that our regulatory strategy is solid. We're working on very based assumptions, but still assumptions. And these assumptions will have a lot of effect on our budget needs as well as our timeline. And our assumption is that we can reach a de novo path mostly with benchtop tests with only usability clinical studies. If anyone can shed light, if this sounds reasonable,
Practical.
it will help us. Practical. Thank you. It will be very insightful.
So, are you?
Please go ahead, Aditya.
Are you going the de novo route or the class 2 510K?
De novo, definitely.
Why de novo?
because the predicates on our solution are very weak. And in that case, a lot of times what happens, if you're trying to force a 510K with weak predicates, then what happens is it becomes as complicated as a de novo, and what you finish up with is a predicate numbering that actually constrict what the device actually is defined to do. Today's de novo path is not necessarily much more complicated than 510K in some cases.
Is there a history of devices in your predicates who have gotten approval through the de novo route?
Yes, definitely. This is what we're basing it on. I think, if I'm not mistaken, one of those devices is actually the PediGuard that you mentioned.
That was de novo?
The PediGuard itself was 510K.
Yeah.
But I think the one before it was a de novo. But you know what? I'm not sure if it was that or another device that I'm referring to. I have the whole documents that we wrote on it.
What has been
So
the
it is
pathway?
it is based on actual examples, real life examples in the surgical orthopedic space.
What has been the pathway for the robots? Has it been 510K or de novo?
Well, there are robots today, that a lot of them that went through the 510K at the moment.
So
the first, yeah.
So based on all of that you just said, my advice would be to really go into the depths of it before you enter the de novo pathway, if that is really required for you. Because to me, I feel, based on what you told me, that you don't have the clarity in terms of what predicates have gone through the de novo pathway. And maybe that is the right pathway. But I am saying that, get a right regulatory consultant or whoever, regulatory team member on board to determine. Because if robots went through, and robots have a very critical role, that the precision is important, it's CT based, there are sensors in that, everything. If they have gone the 510K pathway route, then whether de novo is the right pathway for you or not. So
I thank you so much for the input, and I just would like to add, today I had a meeting with the Mayo Clinic exchange program that I was talking about, and this is exactly what I talked about with them. One of the goals of that interaction with them in that program is to assess our clinical strategy with their professionals.
Ashish, any input from your side on this specific question from Nadav?
From the regulatory side, I have no opinion on that. I stay away from it.
Fantastic.
Lucky you.
Again, this has been a fantastic conversation so far. Really appreciate the inputs, insights from all the panelists, from the subject matter experts. If you have to give just one key takeaway or one insight to Nadav and Ner, what that would be? If I may start with Ashish. Ashish, please, what would be that one insight, one key takeaway for Nadav and Ner?
Your product, your concept is really good. My suggestion for you is, please stay implant neutral. If you tie up with a company, you just lose a big share of the market. And the other thing is, I know you had mentioned you want to, explore the US market and the European market, but the Indian market is a good market to capture as well.
Interesting.
We know that, and actually through Pankaj, we developed some contacts there, and which are very interesting.
We have things going on in India.
You think, if I may ask, just with that respect, you think the Indian market is ready for a single-use device in the range of $250, though?
Your question is, it just depends on the clientele you are dealing with. I'm not saying that every patient is going to have it, but if they have the right kind of patient, and if the surgeon can talk to the patient, that your price will be a little bit up. Stryker had launched a so-called gold total knee replacement in India. Who the hell gets because so this is real gold, right? It prevents prosthetic fracture.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for the advice. Thank you. It's heading home.
Thanks a lot, Ashish. Tanya, one key takeaway from your side?
Sure. You guys have very interesting technology, and I think it's very needed. What I would be focusing while you're waiting of FDI, and you're already doing that, on securing LOIs and getting on board as many potential clients, because once you are early stage, but what I'm thinking from investor standpoint, they want to see the demand, and the more demand you can show, the easier it is for you to fundraise and the easier for you to go to the market.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot, Tanya.
Do you mean hospitals or strategic companies, or both?
Both. I think both. The more you get, just showing interest, not only one, you get the LOI and you sit on that. The more you show, because what investors are thinking, if I'm giving you 8 million today, can I get 800 tomorrow, right? Like, can I make it 10 times? So how you can show it very quickly that you already can scale it up, because it's take time. Through all this negotiation, going also through the internal approval. Even if you start today, it may take you, it always takes longer than you think. So the earlier you start, the better it is.
In other words, Nadav, because you don't have the validation, because you are not commercializing yet, at least LOIs have to be there to prove that, hey, it is going to work when you are launching it. And those LOIs have to be from the real practitioners, or from implant manufacturers, or from implant distributors, or similar kind of organizations who are selling to the orthopedic surgeons. Thanks a lot, Tanya. That's extremely valuable. Aditya, please.
So 2 points, just the technology sensitivity part, which I mentioned before, to focus on that and not lose sight. Because, I mean, the technology is great. The thought process is good. It is solving a problem that is there. It's just when anything that translates from the lab into the real world, right? So that I would focus on. And then the second part is the regulatory side of things to really focus on. Those would be my 2 feedbacks for you guys to dive deeper into.
Thank you.
I know I'm not a juror or panelist, but I would request you to look into your numbers. I think both Aditya and Ashish have mentioned that there may be some errors with numbers. So let's fix them, Nadav and Nir, and present with the right numbers in the future. But yeah, thanks a lot, everybody. Really, really appreciate your time today. This has been a fantastic growth session, and I'm sure that Nir and Nadav learned a lot from this conversation. And I'm sure. Tanya,
can I add one advice to what I would add to your deck? To add a slide showing how you're going to spend money you're asking for. Just a pie chart saying like 50% goes here, 20% goes there, and 30%, because people want to visualize that.
Right.
First of all,
use of proceeds.
Yes, put the amount out there, that it's imprints in the audience mindset, and also how you're gonna use it. And then it's also easiest conversation, because right now it's hard to see how you're gonna use this 8 million.
Yeah, thank you. Good advice. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope, Ashish, Aditya, Tanya, this was a good 1 hour for you. You enjoyed the conversation. I hope we can create more such opportunities for the subject matter experts, for the startups, and to really make the healthcare affordable, accessible, and efficient for billions globally. But yeah, really appreciate your time. Thanks a lot for joining us today and sharing your insights. And let's think about collaborating outside this virtual session. Thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Best wishes to you.
Amazing session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you.